Very cool.
Hello, Seeking Knowledge family. How y'all doing? I'm back again live with a special guest who I met on the OWL app, Miss Sabine, and we connected a while ago.
Mhm.
And she have a book called Become Empowered. So we're going to touch on that, and we're going to touch on other things she got going on. But let me be quiet. How are you doing, Miss Sabine?
I am doing great. Thanks to Marcus for doing this and sharing your light with the world and having this podcast because I believe it's important to share your knowledge and wisdom.
Thank you. So before we get into this episode, because I know it's gonna be good. Like, let the viewers know where you are, where you originally from, and where you tuning in from.
I am originally from Germany. Yes, I'm also known as the storytelling dame from Germany because, as a former actress and director, I know the power of stories. And so I'm sure we going to share some stories here on your
Yes.
show.
This your world. I'm just the host. Hello, Miss Allison. Thanks for tuning in, Miss Allison. Thank you. So you are originally from Germany. Why did you decide to come to the States? If I believe you in the States now.
Yes, I now live in Florida. And yeah, that was actually a very interesting change for me to get here. I after my career being an actress and director, actually it was a pretty sad situation. I was married at this time, and my husband and I, we both are directors and from the entertainment industry, and we traveled the world. And at one point, I came back. I had a show that I directed in Austria, and so I came back one day, and I always go to my mother's house first because that's where I have a very great connection to my mother. And so I came up there, and when I got up the stairs, there she was, greeted me, "Hello, Sabine," and it was a Monday. And in Germany, my mother always had the big meal that she cooked on Sunday. So Monday meant leftovers. So I had the leftovers, Sauerkraut mit Knödeln und Schweinebraten.
I
So
love leftovers.
sauerkraut, dumplings, and pork roast. So I had that, and we had a great conversation. And I felt that restlessness within me. I knew when I have this intuition, something is changing, and I knew something has to change because I didn't want to travel so much any longer. And so I was done with that conversation. I was about to go, and little did I know that this was the last time I would see my mother again. The next morning, the doorbell rang, 6 o'clock in the morning, and my dad stood in front of the door. He never comes. He never comes by himself, let alone 6 o'clock in the morning. I knew something was up.
Mm.
And that's when he told me that my mother passed away very suddenly. And that, believe it or not, was the trigger point for me. Not in that moment, but my husband and I, we were thinking for a while, okay, what's next? What's our next step? And we thought of, well, how about starting our own business, a performing arts school, right? Passing on the passion to a new generation. And and at that point, I wasn't sure. Germany, US, because my husband is American. So that was a thing. But I wasn't ready to leave yet. I wasn't ready. And after all that, what happened, I knew, okay, that was it. I'm ready. I gotta leave now. It was more of a, you know what? I just want to start something totally different. And I was so hurt. I still had my dad, my stepdad, and my sisters, but there was just a special bond that I had with my mother. And I think I was kind of fleeing a little bit, if that makes sense. But with that said, it was good. I don't regret it. It was ready. It was the right step for me to take, and it was just that little nudge that I needed. So that was a long answer to your question.
Nah, that's good. So you became empowered. Like I look at it like this. Sometimes what we go through in life, sometimes it can be traumatic or it can be like traumatize us, but that actually be that spark we need to move on in life or go to the or open up the next door or walk through the next door. So I definitely can relate to that. So what actually got you into acting? Like I mean, what actually got you into acting?
Yeah.
Because people don't, I know a little bit about you, but I want to seek a knowledge, family, to know about you.
So when I was 16, I was finished with school, and then I had to make a decision what to do for the rest of my life, right? What profession to take. So I
Right.
had no idea. When you're 16, you don't have no idea. So I listened to the well-meant advice of my dad, who said, Sabina, find a job with benefits and a good salary so you can pay your bills and have something left over to pursue your hobbies.
Let me say something. That's what everybody say that. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that, but if you got a dream, a career, or a passion you're trying to chase, just going to school, working a job, building a career, it's not gonna work. Like I'm not saying nothing wrong with that route people take, but that's all our parents knew. Like, but I want something different for me, my wife, and my kids. So that's why I want an entrepreneur journey. I just wanted to share that, but you can
Yes,
continue.
absolutely. And you are so right. And so I did. I started started out doing, get my associate's degree. It was a little bit different back then in Germany. So you study, you go to school, and work already in that profession. And that was insurance. So I became, and ended up, once I was done with my education, I became a claim adjuster working in an office, in a little tiny office. And that's not me. In school, I was active with singing and acting. I always sang and act. I was always an outgoing person, right?
Right, I can tell.
Oh, I don't see that in you, Sabina, right? So one day I found myself, I felt again that unrest, this restlessness. And I gained weight, I was unhappy. And one day I found myself staring out of the window, thinking, OMG, I could not do this for the next 40 years. What is mine to do? Ask and ye shall receive, right?
Mm-hmm.
That same week, I had a quote unquote chance meeting with my former drama and music teacher. Yeah, I went down from the subway to the apartment where I lived, and there I saw this familiar face, and I was really happy to see him. He was a big influence in my life. And so we had a chit chat, and then he asked me if I was still active in my acting or singing. And I said, no. And then he said one thing that changed my life.
Let's go. What do you say, Miss Amin?
You will be surprised. Something very, very simple. He said, what a shame, Sabine. You are so talented. Yeah, of course, we were talking about acting, singing, dancing. And then I thought to myself, he is right. That's what I love. That's my talent. That's my God-given talent. So I went home, and I had no idea how to start a career in the entertainment industry. Nothing in my family, nobody in my family did this. But you know what? When your why is strong enough, the how will show up. So I went home.
I love it.
I opened up the yellow pages. Yeah, I know it dates me a little bit. We
Nah,
had
it's
to do
all
it the
good.
hard way. I looked for acting schools, called, scheduled my audition. I had no idea how to audition. I even auditioned with the wrong part. I, I picked a little booklet that we read in school. It was a play. So I looked for the biggest paragraph. I memorized that paragraph. That was a male role.
Mm.
I even did two roles. I had actor who was, yes, I came to solve this crime here. And then I switched, oh, thank you so much for being here. It was hilarious.
Mm.
But it must have been so hilarious that I was accepted. And the rest is history. And I started a new career.
That's amazing. Like he became empowered just off his words. That's a shame. That's how it usually be. It's like you want to give up, but it's like somebody that ain't got to be in your family. They can empower you just by saying a few little words, and it'll spark some under you. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go full force. I'm all in. No matter if I had hiccups, ups and downs. No matter if it don't work this year, next year, I'm gonna keep going. And I share this because like I've been podcasting for almost 5 years now, and I just won my first award. But I can remember when it was people in my ear talking about, "Don't do your podcast, don't start your podcast. You don't know what you're gonna do." But I had people on the flip side saying, "Look, you probably don't know what you want to do, but start that podcast. Continue to go. Eventually, it's gonna pay off." But it's like other people's word and other people's words and ideas. They empower you. It's like, you know what? Keep going. You got this. But the people that don't believe in you, you just gotta let them words brush over you, or how I say, like a water roll off a duck back, and keep pushing.
Yep, that's it. And you just said it so right. There are always people who will, quote unquote, try to help you. And some people do it because out of their hearts. And I had those too. This was not an easy thing for me to do. There were a lot of people
Right.
said, Sabina, why are you doing this? You have a good job. This is a breadless profession. You will starve to death, and all the scandals and blah, 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 blah. And I almost fell for it. But I said, look, I don't want to look back 40 years from now and telling myself, my older self, why didn't you at least give it a try?
Exactly.
So, and that is important. Whoever is listening, when you come to that point, always think back at your older self. What do you want to tell in hindsight? So I did. I said, okay, I started out like with a half education. So I will do it for I start with this half education, and then I'll find out. After 2 weeks, I knew that this is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I had to finance it myself because it was a private school. I still worked. I got up very early. I worked until, I got up at 5:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30. I clocked out. Then I went to school till 9 o'clock. And next day again, Saturday morning, went to school. And then I had Saturday afternoon and Sunday to learn my lines, to relax a little bit. And then it started again on Monday. But here's the thing. When you do something that you love, it's not work. You go for it.
Exactly. And I was just for to say, like, because sometimes you gotta work a job until your passion become your job. And I'm getting, like I said, I still work a 9 to 5, but I got a lot of stuff in place that's going to help me leave my 9 to 5. And speaking of like acting, I just connected with a guy. I've been knowing him like years ago, and we just reached back out. He just reached back out to me on Facebook, and he actually going to help me write a script to my first book, From the Hood to the Church. Baby, I'm not trying to step on your toes. My wife Erica, she was gonna help me write a script, but it's like she work a lot, I work a lot, and we do have the time, but we working on other stuff together as well. And I always learned, like, if you got something you want to do, you can't do it. Why not hire somebody else to bring somebody else in who's good at it? So
Yeah,
I met this.
absolutely.
So I met this brother years ago, and he just reached back out to me on Facebook, and he writes scripts, and he make like little short clips of like movies that he got his own film company, do everything himself. And I was like, bro, I've been trying to do this. I want to do this. So we had a call actually before I came on this live with you. And make a long story short, he finna help me turn my first book into a script, and then he gonna help me shoot it, put in the help me create, like, get it to where it need to be at to get it on a big screen. So I'm excited about that. Like, just by the people I connect with, I know they empower me. Like, because I almost gave up on writing the script because I know my wife. I'm not saying, and baby, you know I love you, but she started writing it. And I met a Tubi actor not too long ago, many years ago. He started writing, but it's like life. Everything always happens. One thing I love about my wife, she always empowered me like, look, baby, we gonna get this done. Just have patience. I know you want to lead a 9 to 5. I know you want to do this, but have patience. So I always listen to my wife when she tells me something because she empowered me a lot. She encouraged me a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to have patience. And all of a sudden, the universe has opened that door. Like when you, like you said, when you ask for something, you say receive. When you just patiently wait and don't have a hasty spirit, which is on the go, and you just have that patience, the door will open for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, and I truly believe that when you do what you love what you do, the money will follow. And it was so interesting. After I finished my school, I started out as a stage actress. But after 2 years being a stage actress, I landed a role on TV. And we only filmed for 6 weeks over the summer. But during that time, I made more money than I did the entire year working as a claim adjuster.
Wow.
You see? And everything else follows when you follow your heart and your intuition, that gut feeling that you have. Well, does it sometimes maybe derail you a little bit? Sure. It did me many times, but I always look for the silver lining. And that is, what was I supposed to learn from it? And everything will be applied to the step forward you're taking.
And that's something I'm learning in life as well. Like, cause I always focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. But sometimes like you said, you might get derailed. But I tell people this, like I heard Bob Proctor say this many years ago. Like when you go through a situation, whether you think it's bad, and the situation could be bad, but it's something that you need to learn. And he gave an analogy of how a guy was stuck on the side of the road. His car broke down, stuck on the side of the road. He thought it was a bad connection, but he ended up meeting his business partner. They ended up becoming like great friends and working together. So I look in life like sometimes everything happened for a reason. You just got to find the reason why it happened.
Yes. So true. Absolutely. But then again, during my time being an actress, towards the end, I did a tour, like an international tour, like a European tour, actually, of Fiddler on the Roof. I was in musical theater. That was really my passion. I did everything. I did straight plays. I did TV. I dubbing. All the movies and TV series from the US will be translated, so you dub that character with your voice so that people see it in German, right? So I did some dubbing.
I noticed that a lot. So I'm going to cut you off, but I hate to say it, I'm a fan of international movies. Like I like watching international movies, whether they're in Paris, France, Germany, Switzerland. But I can tell when I be looking that it don't be them speaking, but you can hear the words. But I notice all this, so I understand what you're saying. But keep going, Miss Sabine. I just want to throw that in there.
No, just how fun it was. By the way, it's a long time ago, but one of the TV series that I dubbed one time was Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
Can you believe that? I didn't know it then. I said, it was like weird. What kind of weird thing? It was like the early ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so hilarious. And I had no clue. I said, oh, okay, whatever. Of course, now I know Saturday Night is a great, fun satire and show. But those were the things that I did. And I had a blast. And that's, again, during a tour, I met my now husband. And that was the reason too why I started moving here. So after I got all of that done, again, there was that change. Now is the next step in your life, starting your business, passing on your passion for the performing arts. And it's, again, I had no idea. I've never started a business. I've never done a school before, but you learn. And of course, my
Mhm.
a little bit what I learned being in business helped me quite a bit to apply that to building that business.
I look at life like this: like you might not learn it, but long as it's in your memory, you gonna learn it because it's just like the light bulb moment. Like something might hit you, might spark that light bulb. So and you be like, you know what? I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna go full force. I might have some hiccups. I might have some ups and downs, but I'm gonna go all in. But it's another thing I want to touch on because I know you, after you did acting, after you became actress, you started like some online courses or you teach an online course. Like, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because you do a lot. Like, I remember our first conversation on the Our app, and I remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So so first we started our school, Eminence Studio of the Performing Arts. I know it was acting. We taught acting, dance, and music. So that was the beginning of it. And then as we grew, I started working with aspiring actors, and I also had a talent agency. So what I did was I was looking for aspiring performers. They wanted to start but didn't know how. So I taught them, I prepared them, got them in front of agents and casting directors, and then got some of them started.
I like
But
that.
here's one thing that I noticed. Some are successful or became successful and stuck with that, and some not. Why? They were equally talented. And then I realized there's so much more to it. Talent is 20%. 80% is your mindset, goal setting. You have a plan. What do you do? Your attitude and everything else. So I started writing a workbook for my actors. So I gave that to them. I worked with them, and then that turned into my first book that I wrote, and that was also the transition. That was like 13 years ago, maybe,
Mm.
that I started. Okay, what is this online thing, right? And I started out. I still was working in the entertainment industry purely. And then I started out creating my first online magazine called The Actors Spotlight.
I love
And
that.
yeah, so I spotlighted actors, talked about the industry, I mean, all kinds of things. That was the biggest learning experience for me with that online thing. So let me share with you.
Go ahead.
uh, I had, so then you get some, okay, hey, now the newsstand on the Apple newsstand. I remember that. So what is that? What is that? Right? So everything in that era that came new. Um, and then I signed up for that program, right? Paid quite a
Mm.
bit of money. But what that did was guiding me through step by step because I had no idea. Said, okay, basically, I became the editor of the magazine,
Mm.
the writer of the articles, the interviewer, the creator. I created the artwork and I created everything. And I had
Mm.
no clue. I didn't have anything. Again, when you're passionate about something, the how will show up. So
Telling
I watched those courses and the videos, and okay, click this. Okay, now click that. Okay, now click this. So this is how I learned. And that then slowly developed. And then my first online mentor was Brandon Bouchard.
Mm.
I listened. I think he published his book, The Millionaire Messenger, and he promoted that, and so I got that. And so, oh yes, that's me. That I can do this. I can do this. And then I signed up for his expert academy. It doesn't exist anymore, and I learned everything there. And I stayed from that point on. I learned more and more and more. I applied more and more and more. And back then I was still in the entertainment industry. But that gave me the power and the basics to write the book, to start speaking. So then I started speaking, and which is another interesting story, actually, Demarcus, because I have no problem to go on stage, as you probably can know. But English is not my first language. So I still felt a little self-conscious about, oh, what if I make a mistake? And then I worked with Mark Victor Hansen, who was the co-author of Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul.
I haven't heard of that book before.
Yes, very, very, it was very iconic back in the days. So, and I was in his program. I was in many, many different programs. And he said, well, why don't you join Toastmasters International? So, okay, I will do that. And I joined Toastmasters just to brush my skills a little bit as a public speaker. Little did I know that there was so much more to it. Also, they have a leadership track, and you can actually get your DTM, a Distinguished Toastmaster. That is when all the leadership tracks, you have to serve on different levels, being the area governor and then the district governor, and do this and that, and also complete all the tracks in communication. And one of them is I was twice as an international speaker in my area and district, and I got to one time to the finals on an international level as an international speaker, sharing your story. And that was one of the stories that I shared, was becoming an actress and making that change. So long story short, that all of those steps, it takes a while. And especially at the beginning, it was so much harder to do everything. Today, oh my gosh, it's so easy to start your own website, so easy with AI to get started. But here's a little caveat, and I want everybody to listen to that. Even though it is much easier on the technical level, it also at the same token, became harder to get your voice and your message out there, because more people are doing it. Especially after COVID, you had to do that pivot, right? And that's where I step in today. I help business professionals, entrepreneurs, to create what I call the celebrity signature talk or message. Because you don't have to become a movie star to be a celebrity. A celebrity means a very important person. And I believe you, Demarcus, are a very important person. You, whoever is watching this, you are a very important person.
Yes, y'all are.
Right? And when you learn how to craft your message and have someone who has that bird's eye view to help you with the message and also help you with the presentation, you can set yourself apart and step into the spotlight. That's why I call it stepping into the spotlight, because you have something unique, and I pull that out. I think I have the talent to pull this out of people,
You do?
to get them to the next level where they want to be. And I love it. I love it.
You definitely have a talent, because I'm just sitting here listening to your story, and it's a great title, by the way, Become Empowered. And we ain't even touched on your book title yet, but it's like somebody inspired you, was like, you ought to be ashamed, I think that's what you said, why you not going to acting. Then when you got into acting as an actress, you got inspired to create a book for the actors you was working with to empower them and get them encouragement. So that's just how the ripple effect be. Like somebody empowered you, you go through it, you use their words, it's all sitting in your head like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Then you want to empower something else, so you create that book for them. Like, it is how the universe, that's the ripple effect. That's how it always used to work.
Yes. And you never know who you impact. Even when I started my business, I didn't necessarily at the beginning did it to to impact others, inspire others, to have that deeper level there. I just wanted to pass on the passion for acting, singing, dancing, and I know I have the expertise and the knowledge. But little did I know that I did so much more than teaching acting, dance, and music. I taught life lessons, but most importantly, I helped children, teens, and adults to get the confidence to step up to their level of performance, to speak up. I still remember I get so many letters, throughout our career there. But one girl in particular, she was so shy, so shy. And one time we got a letter from her. She said, I just cannot thank you both enough. My husband was in the business as well, because you made a difference. I was so shy. Now I'm speaking up, and I am the head of whatever the organization she was in school. Those are the moments that you said, OMG, I made an impact, and look at the ripple effect. And now let me tell you one more story about that. One of the very first students that signed up was Tiffany and Brittany. And we became very good friends with them and the parents over time. And Tiffany was a good-looking, talented. She took acting and dance with us. So our first production was Aladdin. And she was an actress and a dancer. Exactly.
Let's go.
But she didn't sing. So I said, hey, I think you would be good for that role. She said, I cannot sing. So, well, let me be the judge of it, right? So I had her come to a free class, and, I listened. She has a small voice, but very, I can work with her. So I gave her free lessons. She played the role, but she got the bug. After that, she was unstoppable. And she became a professional actress. Wow. She was in New York. She did tours. You name it. But here is an even greater ripple effect that got started. She then stopped her acting career and got her master's in teaching. Now she has a position at a performing arts school where she is the head of the fine arts department. And a few years back, she invited my husband and I to a show that she did. And she's now also in Florida. I was on the other side. So we went. It was Beauty and the Beast that she put on. And it was the last performance they did. She was up on stage, and then she said to her students, everybody, it was a standing ovation. It was a great show. And then she said to her students, I just want to let you know, there's some special people in the audience today. My former teachers, Michael and Sabina. And they showed me and they taught me, and that led me where I am today. And that ripple effect goes on and on and on within you. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. That is so empowering. Talking about become empowered. There's so many levels of becoming empowered. And what you can do, starting out with one person who said, Sabina, you are talented, do it, right? Some person who believed in you that make you do the things. But then there's one more little level that we cannot forget, and that is you. At the end, it's your choice, your decision, if you take a nudge from the universe or not. So my biggest advice I can give you, listen to your heart, to your intuition, and also taking become self-aware, but also be aware of your surroundings, what the
Mhm.
universe sent to you. It can be through people or through situations, and then act upon it. And that can become a ripple effect that is beyond your comprehension at that moment in time.
I do agree. So speaking on, because like this whole conversation has been amazing. Like you shared a lot, but it's like before I can even ask you about why you wanted to become a confidence coach, because I think that your title's down there. You already spoke on it, but sometimes you get inspiration or confidence from other people. Like you might not think you can do it, but once you heard somebody else said you got this, then you just go all the way full force. Like if I would, like I said, if I would listen to them people that said stop podcasts, don't start a podcast, or you don't know what you're gonna talk about, I could have just gave up, but I had the other people on the other side, like, you know what? Just keep going. Keep going. Like you gonna get it's gonna get into the right listeners. It's gonna get into that whoever need to hear it is gonna find their way to them. And that's how I said I ended up winning my first award. See, I've been in podcast for 5 years. And just won my first award, February 2025, in Montreal, Canada.
Congratulations. And you can be so proud of it, because sometimes we are not giving ourselves enough credit, because we think, oh my God, it's selfish, or oh my God, I feel, I boast or whatever. No, we should give credit where credit is due. And when you stick with something and you said, I'm going to do that, and you continue doing what you're doing, then by all means, you deserve it. And that's an important fact we cannot forget.
Right. So speaking of become empowered, I did some research, and I know you got a book on Amazon called Become Empowered. I think the story of grace is something like that. But I looked
of
on
grace and strength,
yeah.
real life stories of women's transformation and triumph.
Wow. So what inspired y'all to do that? Was y'all just sitting around one day, sitting drinking y'all tea? Yeah, I think, you know what? Let's put our stories in there, because we overcame so much in life, and people need to hear this.
Yes, yes. So, I am a storyteller, and I teach my clients to tell stories. And I started my podcast 3 years ago.
Wow.
With the title Become. That was just the title of back then. It was just Become.
I like that though. It's catchy.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to be.
And then I had so many people who wanted to be guests on my podcast. And I thought, I cannot take all of them. What would be another outlet where people can share their story? And then I thought of a book. So I put this out there, and then I had people, yes, I want to be part of your book. I want to be part of your book. And in this book, I share part of my story, but I had 12 other women who share their life story of overcoming adversity and becoming empowered in the process. From all walks of life. They're interesting stories. And that was the reason why I started it. But that in and of itself, talking about ripple effect, I just realized what happened now that I'm sharing that. There was one story. Some people talk to me, but like this one woman who shared the story, she said, "Thank you for letting me share my story. That was very healing for me." It was a very hard process, and what she shared was very personal, right? But here is another thing: talk about ripple effect that book, podcast, whatever has, right? Because of her sharing that story, it was about like some family feud, to just keep it that simple. There was one person who came up to her, who thought that she was the evil, that she was this or that. But after reading her story, she came back to the author, said, "Oh my God, I had no idea. I am so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is something, right? It's like, wow, that was so wonderful to hear. Then just recently, one of the authors, Anne Moak, her story was the second story in my book called Blindsided. She shared her story of losing her eyesight. It was such an inspirational, empowering story, so openly. But that story opened doors for her to speak on stages. It opened doors for her to make other connection that then led to her writing her own book, her first book that she just published, and she shared it on social media. And I commented, and she said, "Oh, Sabina, I couldn't have done it with you. Thank you so much for giving me that start, that path."
Of course, you look at you open up doors for people, and that's the whole thing about, and that's why I like I said, the ripple effect. When somebody empowers you, and if you pass it on, empower somebody else, that will come back around to you, and like not probably it might be in the forms of money, or it could be just in the form of like in connections, but that is so amazing, man. Like just hearing your story of how far you came in life from starting in Germany and singing and dancing, then so that you got that one, that the word stuck with you that made you just go hard. So that's amazing. Like I love it. I love your story. So I know we coming up. It's 40 minutes. I don't want to take up most of your time because I know you very busy. So what's next for Miss Sabine? Like what's next? Any more books coming? Any online courses? Like what's next? Any more acting gigs? No.
Yeah, I want to just share with your audience. So if they want to learn more, or maybe they want to become more confident or becoming a better speaker, I have several resources that are free, absolutely free. So just go to my website, sabinequenberg.com/resources. So I have a masterclass, which is a 4-step framework to become a better speaker, speak like a pro, and get clients.
Mm-hmm.
A book, Unlock Your Full Potential, which was my second book actually, to help you become more confident, all in all. But go to my website, follow me. I have a free community as well. It's called the Become Empowered Community. So it's absolutely free. It's just to become empowered. But I want to leave you with one story. You asked me.
I love stories. Go ahead. I love stories. I love hearing people's story of how they started from here and now they here. I love hearing that because them stories empower me because I know I share my story so open because I overcame a lot. And I know, like I said, I say this all the time. Mm-hmm. Your story is somebody else's glory. And people ask, what does that mean? I'm glad y'all actually going to watch this on replay. That means like whatever you go through in life, what you went through in life, is to help somebody overcome what they going through in life. But go ahead, Mr. Bean. You got that.
Yes.
You got it.
And through being a podcaster, I go every year. It's called Podfest here in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Hale and the Owl family for doing. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I spoke several times at Podfest. So the last time I was there, I was not a speaker. I just wanted to just kind of relax and just connect with other people. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And there was this one woman that I met the year before and said, "Oh, Sabina, I would love to interview you and be on your podcast too." I said, "Yeah, let's do it. And there was a company that had booth set up. So we interviewed each other. And then she came to me after we were done, and she said, "Sabina, you need to write a book." And then I smiled and said, "I already wrote 3 books." She said, No, you don't understand. You need to write your biography. Your stories, your wisdom, and everything that you shared people need to know. Mm-hmm. I was taken by, to tell you the truth, I was taken by that. I said, okay, let me think about it. It's interesting. In the head of my mind, I knew there was a fourth book. Well, actually, there was a fourth book that was all about communication skills, more of a how-to book, right? That was supposed to be my fourth book. But in the back of my mind, I had that biography, right? I know there's so many stories, so many more stories that I didn't even share here, right? And I said, let me think about it.
You probably got to do a part 2, I see.
Then there is an expo hall. There was an expo hall. So I went to the expo hall, and there was a booth from a publisher. And there was a sign on the table said, pitch your book idea and get feedback. Talking about universe giving you those signs, right? Sometimes literally a sign, right? So I said, oh, why not, right? So I signed up. The next morning, I was supposed to pitch my book idea. I didn't have a book idea, but I had stories. So I thought to myself, well, Sabine, what are you teaching? Walk your talk. Start with a story. So I began. And I started with a story that I haven't told very often, just maybe a couple times in some church talks that I gave. And then that led to a couple others. So I only had 15 minutes time. And then after I was done, there was silence. And I was like, oh, was it bad? And then the person who listened, she said, Sabine, you need to write that story. Not only because you're a good storyteller, but sometimes I had to hold back my tears. Wow, I didn't expect that. And so I said, okay, let me think about it. The next day, she followed me. She hunted me down and said, we have to finish our conversation. Well, long story short, she told me all that is involved with that, which is quite a bit. But I just felt, you know what? I got to do this. If not now, when? You know what they say. When is the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday. And when it's the next time is today.
I love that quote. Like I heard you just said it. I heard Jerome say it. Like I heard a lot of people say that quote. Like I love that quote. That's how I remember. Yeah. I know.
So after I came home, well, eventually I said yes. And now I am in the middle of writing that book.
Let's go.
And I have 2 weeks before I have to get it to my editor. So I'm a little bit on crunch time here, but this is how I roll. I can tell you, it's like when I make a commitment, and like I said, I had no idea. But then when you take the time to sit down and start just being disciplined and writing every day, things will come and flow. And I know that it's happening, but I can give you this much of information. The book is, it's a biography. It's a stories of my life, but it's not just stories about me. It's stories about life in and of itself and the lesson it taught me. And I share those lessons in that book as well. So best to explain it, it's a hybrid between, if you like, Think and Grow Rich.
I got that book in there. I got
Napoleon
that book.
Hill, The Secret, and Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul. So that's kind of where, in that area where my book falls into. It's kind of a hybrid of that. And I'm very excited. I'm scared, but very excited at the same time. And if people want to follow my book journey, want to be the first ones to know what's happening, the first one to be right there, to be invited at the book launch and get some of the perks, follow my community, Become Empowered, the journey. And I'm sure that you can put it, so once we are done here, into the this description. But that's basically what it is. Just it's called The Journey. And I'll give you
No.
the link for people to sign up. And it's free.
Actually, once you send me the link, like I'm gonna go back through it and put it in like the comments, so it can just be right there. And I'll put it in. I don't know if I can put it back in the descriptions because I actually created the broadcast once we booked it, like probably a week ago. So, but I'm actually any information you want me to put in there, the comments, like once I rewatch it, I'll put it in there for you. Because like what you're saying, people need to be empowered. Like, because most people are not empowered by the people around them, but they might hear this and might like, you know what? She just gave me hope to write my book. And I wanted to say this because you said you was like scared, but I look at this like FEAR is an acronym. FEAR is feeling excited and ready. So anytime you fear something, that's no, it's the excitement. It's like it's a good fear. So that's why I say fear is feeling excited and ready to conquer anything you might come up against.
Okay. And I tell you right now, I just put it in the chat right there. Do you see that?
Let me see. Oh yes.
Maybe in your private chat.
All right, I see it. Let me get to it.
Yeah, see, you can put it now. You can put it in the main chat here.
Oh yeah, there we go. Let me show that.
Awesome.
I did put it on there, but I clicked on it and it took me out.
Huh. Let me see if I can connect here on my end.
But I do see it in the private chat.
It says private chat. It's right there.
Yeah, it's right there, but I'm still learning with this technology.
So let me see if I can how can I connect to the comments here? YouTube Connect.
But I got it. Now I'm gonna pull it up. Then I would definitely copy it and I'm gonna share it I'm gonna share it though, because I definitely I got it.
Good. Could continue. So I hope, try again. Error occurred. That's a StreamYard. So anyways, it is there. You can share it. And it's a bit.ly, it's bit.ly. So if you want to type it in, / The Journey Community. That's what it's.
So you say that one more time. We can look.
Okay, it's https / and that's bit .ly / The Journey Community. And I am sending it you via email. So it's right there in your email. I just replied back to you.
Gotcha.
Many ways to connect. So while you're looking for it, I just encourage everybody to follow their heart and follow their intuition.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Because that's our inner guidance. I truly believe we have guardian angels here in our lives that help us along the way and guiding us to new pastures, so to speak, right? Yeah.
Hey, I got the email. Let me type it in there right quick so they can see it.
So then you have it right there. Yeah, I do like when we have live chats because it's live. That's what it is.
Right. And this has, and what Miss Sabine was just talking about is actually right here. Did I put that right?
Yeah, you did. You put it in there.
And so look, y'all, check out her website. I actually clicked on it and I'm definitely going to look, y'all. Miss Sabine has a heart to empower people, to help people. So join her community, and who knows, you might want to be aspiring actor or actress, and
Mhm.
you might hear something on here that can help you, reach out to Miss Sabine. There's her website, there's her community, join her community. Like, she give resources. You might want to write your first book or write a bio. And she's giving y'all the sauce. She's giving y'all the sauce. So is there anything else you would like to say, Miss Sabine? Anything else you want to leave with the viewers? Inspirational message? Because you is a confidence coach.
Yes, yes. Well, two things. Stories are one of the best marketing tools. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a business owner, if you are a CEO or a business professional who has to lead a team, lead with stories, because that is a connection that people have, because it's ingrained in our DNA. We grew up with stories, we learned through stories, and we listen to stories. You have maybe heard the saying, benefits tell, but stories sell.
Yeah.
So true. You can sell your teenager to take out the trash, by God's sakes, right? When you do it with the right way, or with the story, right? So that's one of the things I wanted to share. And the other thing is what I always say in my podcast: we have to become the person we are meant to be first, to live the life we are destined to live. So
That's powerful.
always grow, always, always. And I do have, I don't know if I have it up there, but I'm talking about, or maybe it's what's coming up, the 6 human needs. And I talk about how impactful they are. And growth is one of the aspects that, when you have that in your
Mhm.
life, no matter what you do, you will have a fulfilled and happy life. So that's all I have to say for today. So thank you so much for having me and having this conversation.
Thank you so much for those kind words. Look, y'all, like, share, comment, watch this on replay, share it, get these gems Miss Sabine just dropped. And I hope somebody's watching this, because hope is acronym for helping other people elevate. But I hope that somebody's watching this become empowered and go on an entrepreneur journey. And till next time, y'all. Peace.